This is the 2026 GMC Yukon XL AT4. Is it the ultimate full-size SUV? Hey everybody, it's Tom from Vehicle Visionary. I hope you're having a great day. I borrowed this Yukon from my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC in Shreveport, Louisiana. If you want to know more, check out the link down in the description of the video. The exterior color is Summit White, and we will have a Forest Storm with mahogany accents interior that we're going to take a much closer look at in just a bit. But just to give you a quick look at what you have here now, this Yukon XL will be four-wheel drive, so that's going to offer some versatility beyond what you would have with two-wheel drive. The AT4 trim level will have an 8-inch ground clearance. Going to have some additional help there. Now, depending on where you're driving and what you deal with, well, that might determine whether or not you want to go with the power assist steps that are right down here. As far as the front end goes, your lighting is going to be full LED. In fact, not only here on the front, but also on the rear. And we're going to have our animated LED daytime running lights. As you can see, we'll also have that on the rear. And while it doesn't look that bright right now, it is extremely bright after dark. Those are called locator lights. Very easy to find your Yukon in the dark that way. Everything else also LED headlights, fog lights, turn signal indicators, it's all here. We're going to have the underbody skid plating here on the front end. Also the red recovery hooks, as you can see, the AT4 logo that we'll find a few different places on the exterior of the vehicle. All-terrain tires, and those are going to be mounted to 20-inch wheels. There is another one of those AT4 logos. Now let me show you something here real quick. In fact, before we do that, let me show you the remote. We're going to have lock, unlock, remote start. We can open and close the power tailgate, and this button allows us to pop the rear glass open. Now when I lock the vehicle, notice that the side view mirrors automatically fold in. When I unlock it, they'll fold back out. Now you can control that whether you like that or not. You can turn that feature on and off. I'll show you how to do that when we get to the center screen later in the video. But you'll find your turn signal indicators built in. These are heated power adjustable side view mirrors, obviously power folding. And there's a couple of different ways you can do that. If you're sitting somewhere and somebody drives up and needs some extra space or whatever the situation is, and you need to automatically fold the mirrors in, but you're not ready to get out and turn the vehicle off, push that button that I just showed you right there. Also can see your blind spot monitoring built in. And our power assist steps, I talked a little bit about that earlier. If you want to leave those deployed, there's also a setting for that in the center screen. However, they will not stay deployed when you're driving. And the button right here on the front door handle and on the rear, on the driver and passenger sides, that's passive entry. I like that because it's in both places. Sometimes we only see it on those front door handles, but I like that you have it on the rear. You can lock and unlock all four doors from either door handle. We're going to have the roof rails up top. That will help you out when you need the extra cargo space. You can buy the crossbars that will help with that to increase your cargo space, to put Aunt Edna up there, or the unruly kids, or for that matter, the unruly adults. Now, here are our animated tail lights. Again, those locator lights I told you about earlier that may not look very bright, but trust me, when you see it in the dark for the first time, yes, it is extremely bright. And while we're back here, I'm going to push the button right here. We're going to pop the rear glass open. Now, that could have some advantages if you need to just reach inside, but you don't want to have to open the entire tailgate up, put something in, get something out, whatever the case is. Something you don't really see very often anymore on any SUV in this day and age. Another AT4 logo, and we'll finish things off here. You can see the sensors. We saw sensors on the front, sensors back here on the rear bumper as well. Tons of safety features that are going to help you out when you're driving down the road or moving around in parking lots, whatever you're doing. And we also have the quad tip exhaust. Under the hood is the naturally aspirated 6.2-liter V8, putting out a stout 420 horsepower and 460 pounds-feet of torque, mated to a 10-speed automatic transmission. How about your MPGs? Well, here are the potentials. 14 city, 18 highway, 16 combined, and 6.2 gallons of gas per every 100 miles driven. The Yukon XL has a gas tank size of 28 gallons. With this exact model, on a full tank of gas, you could potentially drive 392 miles. Those numbers are not guaranteed. You might get above that, you might be below it. Tell us down in the comments what your experience has been. On that same full tank of gas out on the highway, you can drive 504 miles potentially. Towing capacity for this model, as it is set up with the AT4 trim level, is going to be 7,300 pounds. And when it comes to opening your power tailgate, there are a few different ways to do it. I'm not touching anything. You'll notice there's a lot of beeping, the taillights are flashing. This is your power tailgate. It's hands-free, and you can walk up and open it by simply standing in that area right there. Now, a quick word of advice. If you happen to walk past the rear in either direction of your Yukon and it starts to beep, just keep moving. It won't open, but if you're moving slowly enough or you stop, obviously it is going to open. You will also find a spare tire that is located underneath the rear of the Yukon. And how about your cargo space? Depending on how you set things up, 41.5 cubic feet to 93.8, all the way up to as much as 144.7 cubic feet. That's a lot of space. And you manage all of that with the controls right here. These are for the rear. There are two buttons there, so you'll have to hold one or both down to lower the third row of seats. You can also drop the middle with those front buttons right there, and you can see those go down nicely. Now, there is a difference between the two. You'll notice that we have the up arrows only on the rear, so you can bring these up with the power function, just like this. If you let go of the button, just like I did right there, it's going to stop. So you have to hold it down to have that process finish up, and you will have to manually put the headrests back up, but not a big deal. You will have to manually put the middle seats back up. Just something to note, not a big deal, but we do have a little bit of extra space underneath the floor right here, and there are the tools to change a tire in the event that you ever need to. And you will also find a power outlet back here if there's anything you need to happen to power. And if you're looking for a spacious interior, that is definitely a box that is checked off with a very large check mark when it comes to this Yukon XL. Tons of space, large armrests, nice large door bins. You're going to have the upper section right here. You can see that the Bose premium audio system is here. There's our AT4 logo on the door sill. And you can see that I've moved the passenger side seat all the way forward. So depending on how much room your middle seat passengers need, they can actually help the rear seat passengers out using this lever. That's what allows you to move that back and forth and increase leg space for the third row passengers. Now, we can pull that release once and then pull it a second time, and the seat gets up and out of the way and makes it very easy to gain access to the third row. And there is no shortage of space back here, like I say. Now, if you're over here, I don't know how realistic it would be to have this seat as far forward as it is right now. It's as far forward as it will go. Normally it would be about right here. Still okay, still usable, still I'd say realistic for a lot of people to have enough leg space back here. We will find the roof mounted air conditioning vents, and we'll find a USB port right here, and a cup holder and a little bit of space as far as that area goes. And for those who want to know, of course, you're going to have the same things located on the other side over here on the left or driver's side. We're also going to have our panoramic sunroof. That front portion will tilt and slide open, and there is a power shade that can be drawn forward if there's too much sun coming in or whatever the situation is. And from this vantage point, I can easily show you that we will also have the roof-mounted air conditioning vents for the middle row passengers, the same way that we do for the rear seat passengers. And this is how things look as far as leg space goes with the seat all the way back. One more thing to show, how do you get out if you don't want to use the pass-through from this third row? Well, there is a manual release right here. You would pull on that twice, just like we did on the lever on the side of the seat, but you also have this release. It is a button. We hit that once, we hit it a second time, and we can jump right out. If the third row doesn't provide enough space, there's no shortage at all here in the second row. And you have quite a few options for storage. We have the pockets on the rear of the seats. We talked about the door bins right there. There are going to be cup holders right here. And we'll also have our third zone of climate control management on the rear of the center console as far as temperature and fan speed. All of that's going to be here. We also have our USB connectivity, and right down here we're going to have another power outlet just like we saw with the rear seating, or excuse me, the rear cargo area. We'll also find with these captain's chairs that you have the fold down armrests that can be moved up and out of the way if so desired. And there is the power shade I mentioned earlier for your panoramic sunroof. When it comes to the passenger seat, here in the front seat area, we're going to have plenty of space with the armrest and our upper and lower door bins, just like we saw with the second row and the rear doors. But here are a few extras. Heated and ventilated power adjustable seats, both with lumbar support, so that's always nice to have a little bit of extra space on the side of the center console on both sides as far as storage goes. And we'll have a little bit of additional space here in the glove box. The sticker price, $89,400. Don't tell anybody who you see asking what the price is down in the comments section. Tell them to watch the entire video just like you did. Let's see what else you get for that price. I don't know how well you can see it, but there is a head-up display here. You manage that in the center screen. We're going to get to that in just a little bit. I'll show you how you do all of those different things. Very easy to deal with. Now, we will find some things here that you might want to know about. Number one, if your power tailgate is not opening, make sure it is not set to off. You have 3/4 and you have max. So make sure that it's set to those particular settings, one of those two. You can manually open it no matter what the situation is, but it's good to know where those additional controls are and what you can do with them. We also have the control right here. That's for your power shade for the sunroof, and then we can open and close our sunroof right here as far as that goes. I'm not going to open that right now, but you can control things right there where that is concerned. Now, the one thing that's missing is a dedicated sunglass holder. A little bit surprised with that. It used to be right here. Now, you might say it's right here, but guess what? I say dedicated sunglass holder. Look at how big that is. That is not dedicated to holding a pair of sunglasses. Now, you could probably hold about 12 or so in there if you wanted to, but that's not actually what that is. Now, with your rear view camera mirror, now you can use that as a conventional rear view mirror, or you can turn it on right there if you want to. You can adjust everything from brightness to whether you zoom in or zoom out. Watch that, see what we can do right there, or we can adjust the angle. You can adjust that up or down as you can see, and you're just managing all of that with that button on the left right there. Over here on the driver's side door, you know that you control everything here with your power mirrors in this area. We're going to have our seat memory right here. At this price point, the one thing that I do believe is missing is seat memory over there on the the passenger side. If it's on the driver's side, I believe it should always be on the passenger side as well. Lock and unlock right here, everything for your windows. And here is where you manage everything for four-wheel drive. You can go with 4 high, 4 low. You can also go to auto right there. And we have our drive mode selector. Let's see what those drive modes are while we have a chance to do that. So we're going to have normal, sport, there's off-road, there's your tow haul mode, and we'll go back to normal just to show you what the screen looks like. And you control everything here for your lighting, your exterior lighting. You can just set that to auto if you want to, and you're good to go. Several safety features controlled right here. There's your power parking brake if you want to know where that is. And the control right here is for your tilt and telescopically adjustable steering wheel. It is power adjustable. On the rear of the steering wheel, we find the controls right here. There's the same thing over on the left-hand side. On the right-hand side, that's your volume control. On the left-hand side is going to be the control for what you're listening to. You'll find your shifter paddles on the back of the steering wheel for gearing up and gearing down through your 10-speed automatic transmission. Everything for adaptive cruise control here. You can manage your radio and what you're listening to here. Voice commands. Heated steering wheel right there. And this button, here's what happens when you push it. If you don't like what you see or you need to change that, you can do that on your driver's display. We can also bring up navigation. This will answer a question a lot of people have. Do you have built-in navigation? You sure do. And there that is. We can go one more screen, depending on what it is you need to see. You can have that up there. Now, let's talk about the center screen. 16.8 inches. How much bigger can they possibly get? Now, if you go with the Cadillac Escalade for the 2025 and 2026 model years, if you haven't seen, they go all the way across, 55 inches from pillar to pillar. It's something else. So for those of you that think this is big, well, that's even bigger. but it's easy to deal with. Now here's something that might be helpful to some of you. Now I do have a full video on everything to do with this screen. I'm not going to go through everything, but I did want to show you a couple of little things here. If you want to adjust what you see on the driver's display, it's going to show up over here on the left hand side. Let's say that you want to see your engine temperature. Guess what? You can go right here, add to driver display, and there it is. And then if you don't want it there, you can remove that. Now you can do that with everything that you see here. Very easy to deal with. And you have so many different options as far as voice commands go, adjusting things such as your air conditioning with Google Assistant. You can set up navigation. Now, I'm not going to adjust it by saying, hey, you know who, because I will likely change the temperature in some of your houses. I could do that if I wanted to. Imagine that. There's no boundaries, are there? But let's just do it this way, just so you can see how it works. Change the temperature to 66 degrees.
Okay, changing the temperature to 66 degrees.
Just so you know, that is how that works. You're going to have the Play Store right there. We also have our cameras, and there are no shortage of camera views. So here's what we're going to have. We can go with our front view, our rear view. You have the overhead view right there. We also have this overhead view if you need to see directly in front or behind. You also have your side view, mirror views. There's a lot going on where that's concerned. Easy to deal with. I like that. It also will come on when you go into reverse, and they will stay on when you're driving if you need to do that. People have asked me about that. Yes, you can do that. Now, you have everything for trailering here, your checklist. You can start your light test. There's a lot of things you can do here just to show you what's here. Now, one thing I do want to cover is what we have right here under our settings. Now, you can come right here. You can also do it right here under controls. Here's what you have here. You have your child safety locks. You will turn those on and off from the screen. When you have that highlighted blue box around the option, that is how that works. You also no longer have Home Link, the buttons that you would use to open and close your garage doors. But that feature is ultimately here. They've changed the name. It's called Universal Remotes. And you can have up to 8. Right there. See that? Up to 8 remotes. How many of you need 8 remotes? How many of you need more than that? Wow. I'd love to see your house if you do. But it's very easy to deal with. You just hit add remote and follow the instructions on the screen. You also will adjust your head-up display here depending on what you need to know about. That's super easy to do. I don't have to explain that to you. If it's not on, come here and make sure. Once again, see how it's on, or select to turn on right there. And again, once that's highlighted in blue, that means that it's on. Just so you can see some of the things that are going on there. Now, when you go into settings, well, there's a lot going on here. You can adjust everything you want to. Like I said, I have a full video on everything that you can do with this screen. So I'm just going to hit some highlights. You have your audio settings, teen driver mode. You can see what else is here. Here's something that I know a lot of people like to know about, your safety features. I showed you those sensors on the front and rear bumpers. You have your alert type you can change, forward collision avoidance, front pedestrian braking, intersection collision braking, side bicyclist alert, lane change alert, reverse automatic braking, park assist, rear cross traffic braking, and rear pedestrian alert. Now, if we go to comfort and convenience, here is remote mirror folding. That's how I set things up so that the mirrors would automatically fold when you lock the vehicle and unfold when you unlock it. You can turn that feature off if you so desire. It just depends on what it is you want to do with that. You can change a lot of things here as far as that goes. You have things for lighting, power door locks, remote lock, unlock, and start. It's all here. Here's your power assist step settings. You have automatic power assist steps. If they're not working, make sure they're turned on. You can do that right here with the little dot right there. You can also turn them on right here. Makes it very simple. And here's how you keep them deployed. Like I said, you can leave them deployed as long as the vehicle is not in motion. But when I go into drive and start to drive away, they are going to go back under the vehicle. So it just depends on what you're doing, what you're needing to do. If you need to wash your vehicle, you can do that and it will take care of that for you. But just things to know about as far as all of that goes. And again, one more thing I want to tell you about recordings. I don't have everything to show you how this works today, but I do have a full video on this feature. It's basically a built-in dash cam system that records from every camera that you have when you're driving down the road. There are some prerequisites to that. I'm not going to talk a lot about that today, just to let you know that it's here. You can do that. Now, how about climate? If you want to come in here, you can make changes here as well. But as you already know, you can make changes with Google Assistant. But you do have your controls right here, a lot of physical controls. Now you will have to come to the screen to turn on your ventilated seats and your heated seats. You can sync both sides together. Here is where you're going to manage your volume. And if you want to turn the radio off, mute that, you can push right here. That's how you do that. I'm going to turn that off so we don't get a copyright strike. But just so you can see how that works, it's pretty simple. Here is your wireless charging pad, a couple more USB options. Don't play the piano right here, because you'll have fingerprints everywhere. Everybody's going to know you've been playing the piano on the piano black finish or the gloss black finish. You will find your cup holders, AT4 logo here on the nice large lid for the center console, and that doubles as an armrest, and we have space within. One more thing up here has to do with this control. This is for your power center console. Notice that you can move that back. You could actually present your middle seat passengers drinks to them if they don't want to lean forward and get those. How lazy could that be? Probably happens in this day and age, or it's just being nice, whatever you want to call it. There is your drawer for additional space, and you could actually use this area for additional space if you wanted to. I'm sure there are people who use that for a multitude of reasons. All right, here we go on our test drive with the Yukon. It drives very well. Very comfortable ride quality and very comfortable seats for the driver and the passengers. A lot of benefits going on here. By the way, you do have your 2-speed transfer case. All of those great features are going to be here. I know I didn't mention that earlier in the video, but for those of you that made it to this point, yep, it's here. Magnetic ride control. All those things are here. At this price point, you should expect that. Now, here's somebody who wants a really nice up-close look at the grille of the Yukon XL. I hope they were able to see closely that it's an AT4, because they saw the grille so closely, they probably saw the logo that I showed you earlier in the video. Yep, always have to say something about the bright-minded drivers. And what you likely can't see is that there is nobody behind me. It's always interesting when people do that. Sorry, squirrel. I get distracted by bad drivers. So the ride quality is very nice. Now, I don't know for sure how comfortable it is in the second and third rows, because I can't ride back there. Boy, wouldn't that be a trick to do that. But this is not a self-driving vehicle, and so we're not doing that. But maybe somebody can share those details down in the comments section. Now, one thing here is that we do have plenty of power and the ability to get up to speed as we need to. We're going to hit the pedal and get on down the road. Not too hard, because one of you may come in and buy this Yukon. But that is another thing, is that while it is a large SUV, a full-size SUV carrying quite a bit of weight down the road, that 6.2 liter V8 is going to get you up and running when you need to, as far as getting up to speed. When you need to merge into traffic, fast-moving traffic, you can do that without a problem. And the gas pedal and brake pedal are very easy to manage. Overall, the technology is simple to learn and use. And as you can see on the screen, I told you earlier that you can leave those cameras on while you're driving. For those of you who have asked about that over the years, that wasn't available until just recently. So a few years ago, you couldn't do that. People asked about it, but it just wasn't possible. I guess GMC had enough requests to where they made that something that is now capable on these Yukons. Plenty of space. First, second, even third rows, there's a lot of space. Obviously, more so in the first and second than in the third. But as I showed you earlier, adults can fit there in the third row. I don't know if I'd want to ride back there for multiple hours, but around town, I don't think it would be a problem. And you can adjust the driver's seat and the steering wheel to accommodate anybody of any height to be nice and comfortable. There is a lot going on here. A very versatile vehicle in a multitude of ways. With four-wheel drive, that's going to help you out with your low traction situations. For those of you that live in climates that I never want to live in again, I did live in Colorado at one point many years ago. I do not enjoy dealing with snow and ice personally, especially around here in Northwest Louisiana. I learned how to drive in it, no problem. But the problem is all the people who don't know how, so I try and avoid that when that kind of thing happens. But overall, I will say this is an extremely versatile SUV for those that are looking for a full-size SUV Make sure you check it out in depth. We've tried to cover as much as we can here in today's video. Now, there may be some things I didn't cover, but like I said, I do have videos that cover other things specifically, especially the technology and some of the other features. And so if you're looking for that, maybe you can't find it on my channel, let me know and I'll leave the link for you in a response to your comment. And there it is, the 2026 GMC Yukon XL AT4. It is quite versatile. It has a lot of great features and functionality. Is it the ultimate full-size SUV? Tell me what you think down in the comments section. I'm going to say that it is definitely a front runner with a little bit of additional ground clearance, four-wheel drive, additional space because it has a little bit of additional length. There's a lot going on that definitely checks off a lot of boxes. But what it ultimately comes down to is what you think if this is something you want to buy. I would like to say a special thanks to my friends at Mike Morgan Buick GMC for loaning me this Yukon for the day so I could tell you all about it. And a special thanks to all of you for being kind enough to give me the opportunity to give you a vision for your next vehicle. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure to hit the like button. That is very helpful to me. Make sure to subscribe and please share this video on your timelines on social media so other people can see it. If you would like to learn about additional vehicles you may wish to consider purchasing, check out the video that's on the screen right now, and I will see you there.